What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Let's cut to the chase with this Shinola knife. Hey, Shinola is definitely a lifestyle brand. You know, when I first discovered them, they were only into basically watches and bikes, and they have really branched out. And really, what they've done in most cases is partner up with other companies that are considered premium in their space, and done some co-branding stuff. So you can get some lifestyle products like this. So if you're into EDC, this little pocket knife is pretty sweet. And you might be able to see here, it says Shinola. Now, this is not a brand new knife. I've had this for a while. I actually did a video where I polished it up a little bit because it is some pretty extensive wear on it, but it looks really good now. But I thought I'd give you some of my thoughts on it now that it's aged a little bit, and you can still actually get these. So this little pocket knife here is a flip out blade. You can see here it says Bear on it, and I think the company name is Bear and Son. And as far as I can tell, they have been making knives for a long time and are pretty good at it. And this knife, if that's an indication of their quality, has been a really great little EDC knife. In fact, I've kept this in my desk drawer for opening packages and letters and things like that because it's super solid. There's nothing overly interesting about it because it is just a single blade, so it's kind of like the knives I remember carrying when I was in Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts because you know, it doesn't have a lot of other things like the saw and the compass and the magnifying glass and the toothpicks and all that jazz. So it's just a great little knife. Now, I would say this is a stainless steel construction. I believe it's 440, 400 series stainless steel, so it's been very nice and has been able to be sharpened pretty easily. And I even actually polished up here a little bit, but when you get it, it's really in beautiful condition. And so it's pretty easy to do. You can see you have a little fingernail indentation right there for opening it up. The action on it is sweet. It just absolutely opens and closes and snaps together, you know, right as you would expect it. Now, this does have kind of the back spline type of lock on it. So when you open it up, what you can see is it pushes out there a little bit, and then when the knife gets all the way around, it locks right up against it. And so that's how it keeps the blade from folding in on itself. So you have this little indentation here, and that's what releases it, or basically pushes that back out, and now you can close the knife again, right? So instead of the crossbar lock, you've got that. And I would say that that is absolutely solid because there is no wiggle in it. It's super precise. It's really, really nice. Now, I think all this metal hardware down here is nickel polish. And so it shines up really nicely. It looks like chrome. It's got a mirror polish. Like I said, you can see Shinola de Trois on the bottom there. When it came from the factory, this was a little bit more filled in. I'm not sure if that was done with paint or something like that. It's a little bit muted right now because it's a little hard to see, but it was a little bit darker when I got it. The handle here is bone, and I'm not sure what bone, or bone from what, but it's a beautiful ivory look, and it's nice rounded. It's actually a bit thick. You can see how much thickness it gives. It gives it a nice feel. It's not a really thin, I mean, it is a thin knife, but with the thickness here, it's a little easier to grab, and it's kind of got a round edges, so it's got a compound curve front to back and side to side, so it's really, really comfortable. Now, I will say that the bone to the metal is quite nicely fit, but there are just the tiniest little gaps. I mean, they don't, I can register them with my finger, but they're not like uncomfortable or anything like that. So I think maybe it's kind of all hand lapped or something maybe before they get produced. Also, we have this pin here which kind of holds the pieces on as far as I know. So there is a little roll pin that goes all the way through, and that was also nice and flush, but as I've used this, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm knocking the pieces around or whatever, the pin has kind of walked out, not even a millimeter, just barely. Like I could feel it kind of sticking out from the bone here. And all I did was take one of my punches and just tapped it. I don't even know that I used a hammer on it. I just put the punch there and kind of tapped it with the end of a screwdriver and moved it back in, and it seems to be nice and flush there. But, you know, over time it walked out a little bit. Now, I have not made knives, and I don't know about knife construction. I'm not sure if they taper the pin or something and that's what holds it in. So I'm not sure if there's something I could do. I could punch it out and put some thread locker or something on it and put it back, but I didn't want to do anything other than just kind of push it back in and flush it back up. But it's super nice. And like I said, the blade here is only maybe 2 1/4 or 2.5 inches. So it's a pretty small knife, right? I mean, this is a fairly small knife in terms of you know, something maybe that you would want to take camping, but it's perfect for an EDC knife, and it's perfect for like a day pack or something like that where you need a knife, cut open your cheese, your lunch, your MRE, cut some thread or whatever. You know, it's just really nice, and it just has a premium feel. You know, there are many knives like you know, the G10 material and things like that that are great knives and quite a bit bigger. like this Kube, which is awesome. And this is probably something I would take more on a hiking trip or something like that. But this is just a beautiful knife that has a lot of style. That's more, I would call it like an executive knife that fits in a desk drawer, looks the part, and I think it's really its home. So if you're looking for something that is going to be somewhat of a display piece, then this knife is the bomb. And at $75, I don't think it's particularly expensive. I think it's actually a pretty good deal, and it's a great way to show your love for Detroit Shinola as well as Bear & Son. So check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda. Out!